All right. Okay, what we're talking today is about calculating seasonal index. Now what I've shown you, if you look at the steps here, this is what we need to go through in terms of analyzing seasonal data. We know that it is a time series data. First, we need to be able to plot the graph, describe the graph. Then we determine if there's a seasonal pattern and determine the period of the season. Once we determine the period of the season, we think about calculating the moving averages or the center moving averages. Now, the fourth step is talking about calculating seasonal index. Tomorrow, no, actually not tomorrow, Friday, we'll talk about regression, getting the regression line, and then predicting based on the seasonal index. All right? So these are the steps, general steps that you'll follow through. 6 steps only. You must be able to follow through these 6 steps. At the end, you must be able to make some comments. All right? So for today, you should understand that moving averages or centered moving averages can be used to predict the future values by using seasonal index. You should be able to calculate seasonal indices from seasonal time series data for individual season of the cycle, and be able to determine the seasonal indices for the time series data using average percentage method. All right? Now, a little bit to recap what we did yesterday. Yesterday, I showed you sales data, which has got 4 quarters, and that's 4 seasons in that period. We worked out the 4 center moving averages. Now, it doesn't matter whether it is center moving averages or just moving averages, we still use the same method. All right, we still use the same method to find the season. So the season, in this case, there are 4 quarters. Season 1, Season 2, Season 3, Season 4. When we look at it at the end, if you look at what I've handed to you, these are the 4 seasons we're looking at. February, May, August, November. All right. Although we come up with individual seasonal index, what we'll do is we'll get the average of February, May, August, and November season. All right. Now, I've shown you how to draw the how to calculate centered moving average, and then you can plot it on the same graph. Right? What we're going to do is to use regression line eventually to fit a straight line, and then we can do a prediction for the future. All right? Now what happened is you can see that this line is just average of this number. Correct? 4 of them, half of this, and then all the rest, these 5 values comes up with that, and so on and so forth. What happened is that is a seasonal average. If we use this to predict the data, what we need to do is to actually bring it back to either a low season or sort of like a mid-season, or the peak and the trough, this sort of stuff. All right? So we must be able to use this data. How far away is this from here? Use that line eventually to predict what the trough is and to predict what the peak is. All right? Let's move on. Now, fitting a regression line to the 4 center moving averages. Can you all grab your calculator? If you haven't got one, grab one for me, please. You need to be able to work out your regression line. All right? You can use your regression line, input all this data. Forget about time period 1 and 2, forget about the time period 11 and 12. X will be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. On list 1, list 2 will be this. All right? See if you come up with the same regression analysis, regression line. Just want you to try it out, because tomorrow we'll talk about the regression line a bit more. But today, just try it out first. See if you can remember how to work out your regression analysis. All right?
Do we do it on stick
Statistics, yeah, same thing, statistics. Statistics, same thing, statistics. You do the same thing. Just try it out, see if you can remember how to do your regression analysis. If you can't remember, doesn't matter, I'll show you again tomorrow. This is just a quick one, just a refresher. I'm not that concerned if you cannot remember how to do it. Alright, statistics. So least 1 will be the time period. Least 2 will be your 4CMA.
So we're just listing 0 for time
No, don't put in 1 and 2, don't put in 11 and 12. Okay. So the box only, the red box only. Anything without the moving averages, forget about it. Do not input that.
Time periods to be starting from 3.
Yes, time period starting from 3. So here, eventually, when you predict, the T will be, if it is 13, period 13 will be 13 here, and so on and so forth. Alright? So just make sure that you get the same number as I do. I mean, it could be slightly different if you press the wrong button. But that should be the equation. I double-checked it this morning. Got it? Yep. Got it? You know how to get it? All I want, don't worry about plotting it yet. All I want is you'll be able to, you are able to get the M values. Yep, good. Yeah, got it? Very good. So everyone happy with it? You know what to do, how to get the regression line? Memory refreshed? Alright, let's move on. Alright, so this is actually what the regression line looks like. Alright, we got the regression line. Here, you can extend it. Alright, now recall when we look at bivariate data, we say that whatever is extrapolated is not reliable. In this case, the time series data is going to be slightly different. We are going to extrapolate one season. So if it is one season out of the N, it's considered as reliable. Anything above one season is not considered as reliable. I'll talk about it a bit more tomorrow, alright? So here you can see that with this straight line, which really fitted the moving average well, we can use it to predict, alright? So now, what we're going to do is work out the seasonal index first. That's the next step. So here, the observation is we can use the smooth values, the 4-cent moving average, to predict sales for the future. This will be based on just the average value. Therefore, it is important to factor in the seasonal effect. Alright, the seasonal effect is really important. You can see that this is average, you've got the trough here, you've got the peak here. Alright, two of them below the moving average, two of them above the average. So once you predicted the numbers, you must bring it back, whether it's the trough or the peak or whatever it is. Alright, whatever the seasonal index tells you. So we have to learn how to use the average percentage method. It's pretty much the basic is you can work out the seasonal index for each individual season. Then for the time series, then if you've got, say, February, look at all the February seasonal indices and then use the average. That's all. Alright, that is what average percentage method means. And this measure is called seasonal index, or the seasonal effect, or the seasonal component. So these three will be sort of interchangeable in the exam. Most of the time they use seasonal index. I have seen seasonal effect and also seasonal component, so make sure that you understand that. Alright, now let's calculate the seasonal indices for individual season of each cycle. What happened is, you've got to look at each cycle, in this case is every year. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3. Alright? So we need to look at the quarterly mean. The quarterly mean is the average value of the 4-quarter sales for 2017. This is the average value of the 4 quarterly sales for 2018, and this is the average value for 4 quarterly sales for 2019. So we're going to calculate it individually, but if you would actually just highlight it, making sure that you know this is strictly applied to 2017. This applied to 2018 for this data set. Alright, just make a note of it. Either highlight this as a block as one block, highlight this, another block. And then I'll show you how to work out the average value. Alright, I will move on now. So, how do I get this? Basically, this 6.858 is 8.95 plus 10 plus 2.88 plus 5.60 and then divided by 4. Alright? So use your calculator, make sure that I'm right. This should be 8.95 plus 10 plus 2.88 plus 5.60 divided by 4. That will give you this. And this will be 12.5 plus 13.38 plus 4.8 plus 8.98 divided by 4. That will give you this one. So it's this. 7.52 plus 18.89 plus 5.78 plus 10.05 divided by 4 should give you this. Alright? Are my numbers correct? I hope they are. I'm pretty sure they are right. These are the ones I actually checked it a few times, and I think I use a spreadsheet to do it. Do you all agree with me? Yeah? Alright. Once you found the quarterly mean, this is the mean for 2017, mean for 2018, mean for 2019. Alright? What we need to do is find out what is the percentage of quarterly mean. Alright, the percentage of quarterly mean is basically the sales divided by the quarterly mean times 100%. It could be in decimal place or it could be in percentage. Now, you must realize that because this is the average of quarterly mean, these two numbers are higher than 6.858. Therefore, the percentage will be higher. Whereas these two, the percentage will be lower. Under 100%, those two will be above 100%. Alright? You are basing all this percentage of quarterly mean based on the sales and the average of the sales. Alright? So can you work out the first 4 numbers, and then I'll show you my results. Work out the first 4 numbers. You should have the quarterly mean. Work out the first 4 numbers. Use your class pad, don't use your phone. I know, but in the exam you can't use your phone. I know it's very tempting to use your phone or use your whatever, it's so much quicker, but get used to your class pad. So with time series data, it's a lot of steps, step by step. Once you master the step, it will make life a lot easier in the exam or in the test. Right? Now, this is what I've got. Like I say, it could be decimal, 1.30, or it could be percentage. Alright? I will check how many decimal places that you should have. Generally, I will say 2 in this case. check that number that I put up are actually correct. Alright, suggest. Alright, if I go back one step, 4 decimal places for this. If you give it as whatever you call it, as decimal place, or for percentages, 2 decimal places. Alright? You will get it in your notes. Just make sure that you know it's 4 and 2. So once you've worked out all the numbers, this is the seasonal index for February 2017. This is the seasonal index for February 2018, and this will be the seasonal effect for index for February 2019. So what we're going to look at is, let me highlight this here, February, February, and February. And we'll look at May quarter, May quarter, May quarter, and then the August quarter, and then the November quarter. Alright? So this is what we're going to look at. We're going to sum this up in the table, in this table. The next table, you need to summarize your data, as in February 2017, February 2018, February 2019. So we're going to do calculating seasonal indices using the average percentage method. Once you've listed everything, the seasonal index for the February seasonal index is just the average of these three. Seasonal index for May is the average of the individual seasonal component, or seasonal index for May. Average of this, average of that. You can see that the numbers are sort of fairly similar because of the peak and trough going up and down. And you can see that yeah, there's a slight change in 2018, but they still follow the way that February and May, the sales is above the average. August and November, the sales below the average. Write it down and calculate the seasonal index, please. Work out the seasonal indices. Again, if it is percentages, 2 decimal places. If you give it in decimal, 4 decimal places, so that you know that you've got 2 decimal places for percentages. All right. A lot of you are going quite well. Did you get the same answer as I do? The seasonal index. In fact, a lot of the examples I do, I actually use Excel to work it out, to make life a little bit easier for myself. It's just that in the exam you can't use Excel, so therefore you have to learn how to use your class pad. Now, so you can see that these will be the seasonal indices for February quarter. The sales is 130% more than the average. May quarter, 141% or 142% or 141.8% more than the average. This is below and this is below. So this is how you need to be able to explain. One of the thing that one of the questions that they will ask is, what does the seasonal index mean? All right. So this just means that the sale in May quarter will be 41.8% more than the sale in at the average sale. All right. So the important thing for you to notice is the sum of all this should be 400% because there are 4 seasons. If there are 3 seasons, it will be 300%. 5 seasons, there will be 500%. All right. Sum of this, sum of the seasonal index, 4%, or in decimal place is 4.0 or 4. Now, the seasonal index can be written as percentages or as a proportion or decimal. For example, February quarter will be 130.25% or 1.3025. The seasonal indices for every time series will always add up to the number of seasons of the seasonal cycle. So if a time series has 3 seasons, the seasonal indices will add up to 300% or 3. If a time series with 12 seasons, the seasonal indices will add up to 1,200% or 12. So that will be the monthly. All right? Now, let's have a quick look at an example. The table shows the monthly sales figure and the seasonal indices for Unitech. Can you calculate the seasonal index for August? You could, because you know that everything add up will be, what would that be? 12. So it's 12 minus all this, because all these add up to be 12 or 1,200%, like what I said just now. All right, 12 season, the seasonal index is up to 1,200% or 12. So here you're given 2 decimal places. You should be work out everything plus, let's say this is x equals to 12, or just work out 12 minus all this. All right, hence the seasonal index for August is 1.14. And then the seasonal index for May is 0.87. Explain what this means. So the explanation is, in May, Unitex records 13% lower. It's 1 minus 0.87, which is 0.13, is 13% fewer sales than in the average month. So this is how you will explain. So for example, in that case, talking about October, October will be 11% more sales than in an average month. So if they ask question about October, there will be 11% more sales compare or to an average month. All right. So that is the purpose of the seasonal index. Look at the average, it could be more or less. All right. I will do a little bit more on regression tomorrow and talk about prediction on Monday. And that will be the whole lot about time series data. And we will do some revision. We should finish this topic by mid next week. All right? I'm going to stop here now. There should be exercises in club for all of you to do.